Hey guys, come on in. Hello, hello, happy Thursday. Hope everybody's had a great day. I've had a good day. I got my desk, my crafting desk cleared off. I had my nephew who came and he helped me put stuff away. The hardest part for me is just walking back and forth to put everything away. And so it piles up and it piles up. But I'm telling you, I gave my crafting desk a good cleaning and a scrub once I got everything off. Well, not everything, but all the stuff that needed to be put back away. So come on in. I debated on whether or not I was going to come live tonight, and I thought, well, I'll just go ahead and finish this project. This is what I started yesterday. Y'all, look at that. Didn't that turn out so awesome? Anyway, these are my grandmother's buttons that I inherited from her 6 years ago. And I mean, I've had these buttons and I've had these buttons and I've saved them for something special. And they just I just wasn't getting anything made with them. So I was in an event yesterday with Lolly's Crafting Friends VIP group. And the theme was treasured. What is it? Treasured. Y'all, why can't I remember the names? I'm a numbers person. I'm a numbers person, not a words person. So anyway, this is what we have. And what I want to do, I really thought that I wanted to do like a check pattern around the outside. And then I thought, well, I'm going to paint it and then I'm going to crackle it. And the more I thought about it, the less I felt like I should paint this wood on the outside here. I'm going to leave this as it is. And what I'm going to do is crackle it. I'm going to crackle the front and the sides. And then after we get the crackling done, we will decide what color we're going to put in the cracks. I haven't decided that yet. So let me get a brush that I can use. Come on in. Hey, Molly, I'm going to finish up the piece that I started yesterday. This is what we have so far. And I'm going to crackle the outside here. And then after I crackle it, I think I want to put some rhinestone trim on the inside to frame it. So we'll see where this goes. I had debated on whether or not I was going to come on tonight or not. And all right, let me see which brush I want to use. I could probably do this. All right, that'll probably work. What about this one? It's always about the brush, isn't it, y'all? Oh, this one's maybe even better. All right, so let me try this one and see what we have. My favorite crackle medium is the Fine Line Crackle Medium from Pentart. It has two parts. The first part is kind of like Elmer's glue, and the second part you put on after the first part is dry. Kind of smells like, I don't know. It's got its own smell, but it doesn't have a real strong chemical smell to it. So that's what I like about it. So we're going to go ahead. I think I'm going to start with the Fine Line Crackle because, oh gosh, I think I'm going to crackle. That takes a little bit longer. And then I can, if I have to, I can let the other part dry while I'm putting the rhinestone trim on. But, you know, I thought since this is, oh, come on, don't do this to me. Don't do this to me. There it goes. I thought that since this is kind of a vintage piece, that I would go with the wood look because I think that's what my grandmother would have. And so we're going to just go from there, y'all. And, all right, let me blow some of this off of here. Hold on. I took everything off except for a couple of things. I took everything off. I'm going to turn it this way so y'all can see it. Off of my desk. And alcohol, rubbing alcohol, is a wonderful cleaning agent with acrylic paint, with glue from the glue gun, with lots of things. So if you get stuck and you need, all right, here we go, y'all. This is what we're gonna do. And I have saved more projects and more things with by applying rubbing alcohol to them than you can imagine. And I was looking at my the diamond on my engagement ring, and it kind of needs a cleaning because it has paint all over it also. And I'm like, maybe I should try just soaking it in rubbing alcohol and see what happens. All right, I'm just putting a thin coat on here. I don't know, I've never really put a really thin coat on here. I've usually kind of just glopped it on, but I want to be careful not to get this too thick because I want it to dry in a reasonable amount of time also. All right, you know what? Hold on a minute because I'm going to pull up. Since I'm not painting, because I don't like to paint on this. This is an essential stencil that I did on a Lazy Susan that I got from a yard sale. And I just had so much fun with that, y'all. All right, so here we go. So I'm going to do the sides. And I'm going to do the top. And then we will dry this. And after we dry this, we will put the second layer on. And then we will dry that. And then what will happen is we'll get fine line cracks in our piece. And we will be able to put like a wax. And I haven't decided if I'm going to go with gold, which I don't think I'm going to go with gold, because if I was going to go with gold, I would need to paint this white. But, so I think I'm going to go with a black paste wax to fill that in. All right, here we go. I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to come in here. And get this as close to the edge as I can. Now, this will also give this like a shiny finish. So I think this is going to be the right thing, y'all. I really wanted to put black and white checks on here, but when the paper that I was going to use, I was just like, I was not feeling the paper at all, and I wasn't sure if I should paint it, and I don't know, I just feel like I should leave it with the wood and give it a little bit more of, I guess a little bit more of a vintage look. We'll see. So, what have y'all done today? Anything interesting? Or has it just been another day? I took my nephew to work today. And then instead of cooking, which I don't do a lot of anymore, I went by Panera. And I'm not so sure I should have done that because, I don't know, fast food doesn't always sit well with me. So, all right, well, this is drying pretty quickly, so we might get through this faster than I thought, y'all. All right, here we go. Let me just put another little layer on here. All right, we're going to do this side here. Let me do I think I want to do the top first. I loved how these buttons turned out, y'all. I really have I have never done anything like this before, so I wasn't quite sure where I was going to go with it and how it was going to all shake out, but I really like how it turned out. And I had pulled out a whole bunch of buttons and put them somewhere else, so they got left out of the showcase. But once I had everything all glued in, I thought, oh well, here we are. This is what we're gonna do. All right, and then I'm gonna do this side here. I'm gonna keep doing each side. This smells like Elmer's glue to me, and so I tried doing Elmer's glue with the part 2 of this, and it's not the same. There's something else in this that's not Elmer's glue. Bring this over here so y'all can see me. All I'm doing is just dipping into this and painting it. Kind of excited to see how this is going to turn out. I don't know where I'm going to put it. I don't have any shelf space or anything. I may hang it on the wall or something. Maybe I'll put it up in where I do my lives. I've got quite a variety of things that I've been learning to do. I did some decoupage back in the 80s, and but that was different than what is being done for decoupage this day and age. And so I've had a lot of fun learning. Just kind of feel like this isn't thick enough, y'all. I'm gonna add a little bit more to this side here. I've always done it pretty thick. And this brush is kind of glossing over it. All right, I'm gonna do just a little more up top here. So I'm home by myself. My husband's he is at his mom's. He's been overseeing her she's in an assisted living home, and he oversees her, what her caretakers are doing. And so he's back and forth between here and there. He came home last night. And, okay, one more side, y'all. One more side. Now this piece that I did, that I've got my Lazy Susan on, I actually resined it. Have any of y'all worked with resin before? Hey Ann, how are you? Anna. I like working with resin, it's fun. I've got some glass that I do art, and I do resin and glass stuff with. And I took a couple of classes with Art Shattered on Facebook years ago, and that was a lot of fun. All right, so here we go, y'all. This is really drinking this up. So this is a 9 by 9 inch frame. All right, here we go. I'm gonna do this last side here. I probably could have used a brush that wasn't quite this stiff. This brush that I'm using has got like a short, flat bristle, and that's really good if you want to paint checks or stripes. The other thing that I like to use for like stripes is a filbert brush. I like a filbert brush. So that's a lot of fun. All right, here we go. All right, y'all, I think that's going to be it. And look at it, it's already starting to dry. So I'm going to put this in my water. And we are done with part 1. So I'm going to go ahead and dry this. This is why I got the Lazy Susan out, because it's going to make drying this a little bit easier. All right, there we go. All right, so here we go. So you want this to dry clear before you put the second coat on. And I'm going to tell y'all, this is going pretty quickly. Like this side over here is almost dry. So this might go quicker than I thought it was. So I decided to go with the thin gold rhinestone trim, since I have mostly gold and white and black in this. So I got this Lazy Susan from Goodwill. And it doesn't always roll real smoothly, but it does the job. And the rub-on transfer from Essential Stencils, it was like perfect for this. I love it. I'm just going to keep turning this around till everything is clear. And it looks like it's not going to take that long. I'm going to leave the inside. I'm not going to crackle the inside lip of this. I'm going to just leave that plain because I don't want to take any chances of getting anything on that velvet. Now, if you weren't watching me create this yesterday, the velvet came from some friends that were real close with my mom and dad. And after my mom and dad died, 10 days apart, 10 or 11 days apart, they kind of became my parents and friends, and so that was, I would go and visit them, and now they've gone home to be with the Lord. So I kind of have a combination of the velvet is from, family that they knew me when my mom was pregnant with me. My dad was in the Navy. And anyway, they were stationed in Hawaii, which is where I was born. They were stationed in Hawaii when my parents were stationed in Hawaii. And they just, military families tend to keep up with each other because they're always traveling so much. Oops. I need to cut that. Okay, we're almost done here. Got one spot here that's not quite dry yet. You want to be careful not to get too much heat on this too. Alright, y'all. Let's see what's going to happen here. Let me get a pair of scissors and snip this thread. Make sure I got everything. I had a pair of tweezers out. I must have put them away. And grab this and lift it up. I used B7000 and the glue gun to glue the buttons down. B7000 to give it, to give it a permanent hold, and then of course the I need like a little bitty. I can get this. Just like a little bitty. There we go. And once I get the trim in there, this is going to go down too. All right, so let's put the part 2 on here now. It's kind of like, it looks like honey, but it's not as thick as honey. And I think I'm going to try this brush here, y'all. This one's got a little bit more bristles and a little bit softer. And it will drip, so you want to be careful with it. And I'm taking it all the way up to the edge. This is the crackle medium that I did in a project that you'll see when I get to the next stage. I was putting the wax on and wiping the wax off, and then I put my paper towel off to the side, and lo and behold, I ended up putting my paper towel that I was wiping the wax off with and put it right in my paint, and then I picked it up and smeared blue paint all over the top of my project like 2 minutes before being finished. I was just like, oh, I can't believe I did that. Although I can believe I did it, because if there's paint off to the side, I'm going to stick my project in it. I just have to be careful not to leave any paint off to the side. But anyway, Sherry Givens recommended, she said, did you try rubbing alcohol to see if that'll take the paint off? And sure enough, it did. I thought I don't have anything to lose, because I really thought it was headed for the trash, but the rubbing alcohol sure saved it. All right, here we go. I'm gonna come over here and do the next side. This is a better brush for this. The second part is a little bit more liquidy than the first part. First part's more like glue, literally. All right, and I'm just gonna come in here. And we're gonna put this on top of it. Now, one of the things that I like about this particular crackle medium is that you can do this right on top of like rice paper or paint, and it's not like the kind where you paint something and then you put glue down and then you do another layer of paint. All right, let's see here. Let's turn this around. We got 2 more sides to go. So my thinking is that this should make this shiny, because that's what it does. It gives it like a shiny, almost like a clear coat. And because I put the crackle medium on that project that I put paint all over, it acted as a barrier and a seal. And so it didn't tear up the paint when I put the rubbing alcohol on it. And it withstood the alcohol. I was really surprised. But I really thought it was headed for the trash, because I thought, oh well. But what I'm learning is never say never, because we just never know when there's a miracle solution. All right, and then one last side, y'all, and then we're going to dry this, and praying that I put enough of the first coat on here. And this is fun. Y'all won't really be able to see until I put the I think I'm going to do this in a black. I think I'm going to highlight the crackles in black, y'all. That's what I'm feeling like. I really wanted to do black and white checks, but I don't know. It was just kind of screaming at me and saying, no, keep the wood, keep the wood. So I'm keeping the wood. My dad owned a furniture store. When he got out of the Navy, there was a furniture store called Blackwelder's Furniture. And my parents had bought most of their furniture from him. And when Mr. Blackwelder found out that my dad was retiring, he asked him to manage a furniture store for him. And so my dad did, and then from there, at one point, my dad's store was the only store making money, and because they had several stores in North Carolina, and anyway, they ended up going bankrupt. But my dad just really enjoyed the furniture business so much that that's what he ended up doing in his last days. All right, let me just look at this and make sure that I have it, that it's on here. I think it's pretty good. Just trying to see where the light is. All right, let me try this one spot right here. And I used to work for him. I love furniture, y'all. I love furniture. I love antiques. But I don't, you know, it's funny because I love antiques, but yet I don't do, what do you call it? You know, the grungy look. I typically don't do that. It's just, even though I like it when I see other people make it, I think it's pretty. But I don't think that way. I think bright like what this Lazy Susan is. It might take us about 5 minutes to get this part done because sometimes this takes a little longer to dry. It's actually dripping, but not much I can do about it. And this will get like a really hard, almost like a resin look on this. And then I have some, so you know, I bought some cabochons, which are like, almost like half buttons. But my grandmother has these gold buttons, and they look just like cabochons. And so I'm gonna put those in the corners. I'm gonna put some rhinestone trim in the middle, and I'm thinking I'm gonna put the cabochons right there in the corners where the rhinestone trim comes together. And then I had some, I found yesterday when I was looking through the buttons, I found some square buttons, and I thought, oh, those are really neat. Well, when I was putting the buttons together on the felt, I couldn't find them. And then when I got ready to clean up and put everything away, that's when I found them. So it was kind of too late at that point. Checking to see. Okay, it's starting to crack. Now I have found that this particular crackle medium, the more heat it gets, the finer and the smaller the segments are. I kind of found that out by accident. I was going to let it dry on its own, and it didn't crack very much. And I put a hairdryer on it, and it just went to town. So there's an element that the heat has to play with this. I don't know why, I just know that that's what it does. So depending upon what kind of cracks if you want a lot of cracks, then, you know, put some heat on it. If you only want a few cracks, you can, you know, just let it dry overnight, or dry in the, you know, put it on in the morning and walk away. And then if it's not enough cracks, you can just add the heat to it. All right, this is cracking over here, so this is good. All right. It's got a real smooth feel to it too. Right, it's cracking up there now. I'll hold it up. I don't know if y'all are going to be able to see it or not, but I'll hold it up for you so you can see it before I put the wax on it. I think I want to do black. I think I want to do the black wax. I really don't think that the gold is going to show up because it's too close to the brown. Just trying to get this in the light to see how our crackling up top is going. It's cracking. This side over here doesn't seem to be cracking as much, but fortunately that's down at the bottom. So, because you know, when you look at a picture, you usually look at the top three sides, and you have I have a tendency to go from left to right. So I try, whenever I'm doing a project, I try to make sure that, like, if there's a seam somewhere, it's a seam, like when I put like two pieces of rhinestone together, like these are going to go together in the corners. But if I have a start and a finish, what I try to do is put my starting and stopping point somewhere where people's eye doesn't naturally go to first. All right, this is looking good. This one here didn't crack quite as much down here, but I think we're going to be all right. All right, so here we go. Let me put my scissors away. And I'm going to, this is Pent Art Wax Paste. And this is in the color black. Okay, and I'll show you what it looks like. It's just a wax. It's a black wax. And so what we're going to do, I usually use a brush that is like a throwaway brush. Like this one here. Something, you know, like from the Dollar Tree with just a real synthetic, just a cheapo brush. This one would work too. See how it's got it's just a cheapo brush. And then what I'll do when I'm done, all right, remember that oil takes away oil and water takes away water. Oil does not mix with water. So if you have a water-based product, you want to clean with water. If you have an oil-based product, you want to clean with oil. And so what I will do is when I'm done using this brush, I will put it in olive oil. I'll just put it in olive oil and let it sit, and then I'll scrub the bottom, in the glass of oil. I'll just scrub that and loosen that up, and then it'll be fine. All right, let me see. I always like to test my brush before I put my whatever I'm going to put on it and see how it goes. Let me get this out of the way. Put that up there. All right, and now I'm going to need some paper towels. And this is where I have to make sure no paint is near me. All right, so all I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here and I'm going to put some of this wax on the brush. And then I kind of like to offload it. Let me see if I can get back here so that y'all can see me a little bit better. All right. I'm going to just kind of offload this. And then I'm going to come over here. Oh, I didn't hold this up for y'all to see. All right, you can see. All right, let me see. Hold on. Oh, it's not going to show it to you very well. I don't know if you can see the cracks or not. All right, let me turn it over here and see if this side's got it better. All right, there it is. See the cracks? Kind of looks like alligator skin right over in here. Those are the cracks. And so what we're going to do is we're going to take this wax and we're going to put it in the cracks, and we're going to buff it out, and we're going to just keep adding this on here. I hope this is going to be dark enough. I know gold wouldn't work. And so I'm going to try not to go over the edge because I only want this on the top. And then I'm going to come over here on the sides. This isn't quite, I probably should have put more of that bottom layer on. It was kind of thinner than what I normally do. All right, this is going to be really, really faint. All right, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to just take my paper towel, and this is going to just give this, it's going to give it a really light look, but it's going to give it some texture. Not quite as dark as I wanted it to be. All right, let's see if I can get this in the light. All right. You can't really see this one. I'm hoping that the next one, let me put another layer of this on here and see if that's gonna, I really wanted this to be a little bit more pronounced. And then I'm gonna do this side again and see if that's gonna make a difference. It's better. And you know, I'm sure you could probably use like a dark wax if you don't have the wax paste from Pentart. It comes in different colors. And wax also acts as a sealant too. All right, this is better. And say that you get too much on here, then you can take a clear wax and kind of buff it out. All right, let me see if y'all can see. You can't see the color, but the color is on there. And then, let me see if I can get, my light's not on. All right, let me try another side and see if I get a better result. But I can see it, and this side looks completely smooth. This side has got some texture, almost like some alligator skin to it. All right, we're gonna go on the top again. I guess in a way this is kind of good because it's subtle, but there is some texture there, and so the frame is not necessarily stealing the show from the buttons. So I guess that's probably a good thing, huh? All right, and I'm just gonna come over this. Let me bring y'all in and see if that helps me. Let me see if that helps. Just kind of dabbing this in here and then putting it on here. And it's bringing the cracks out, and it's giving this some texture. And then I'm going to do the sides also. And then I will come back and I will wipe this off after I do this side. You don't want to leave the wax on here too long, especially if you only want a light coat. If you want a darker coat, I guess you could leave it on longer, but I usually just like a light coat. But for some reason, I think I should have put a larger. All right, let's get my paper towel, and I'm gonna just come over here. Kind of buff that out. And so what it does is it just leaves the cracks, what's in the cracks behind. I like it. I do. I think this was a good choice to do the black, because it just gives this some texture. All right, I'm gonna throw that paper towel away. I'm gonna get another one. If anybody has an IKEA, what's it called? You know, the little drawers that IKEA has? I found that these paper towels, the ones that kind of like have an accordion fold, found it by just kind of by accident. The one, you know, you pull one out and then another one comes out. they fit perfectly in the top shelf or the top drawer, the shallow drawer of the IKEA drawer set that you can make a desk out of. I was so excited when I found that out. I was like, And there's like a little hole at the end of the in the drawer, so that all right, let me do the other side. Let me see if y'all can see this. There you go. See that? Can you see it? Oh, hold on, if I get it just right. There it is. And so it just went from just being just plain, a plain old, what, I don't know what kind of material this is, but it was just really smooth, no graining or anything like that, to something with some texture. Okay. And then I'll show you what it looks like before I wipe it off. Okay, so see how it's kind of streaked, and then over here, see how it's streaked. Make it so y'all can see what I'm doing. And I'm just going to wipe this off. And it comes off on the excess will come off on the paper towel. And then I'm going to I'll take it off the top. I'm gonna hold the three sides up so that y'all can see kind of the difference. All right, let me see. Let me get this out of the way and I'll show y'all. I'll see if I can show y'all. All right, so see if you can see down at the bottom how it's just kind of plain, and then over on the side, let's see if I can get it to show up. It's just the camera's just not grabbing it. Not sure why, but it's black in the cracks. All right, let's try this side over here. Nope, it's just not. For some reason, the camera's not picking it up. Well, shucks. It's subtle, but it's there, and it makes a huge difference. And you just go from just plain ordinary, straight up, no real personality to the wood, to some texture. I'm trying to think if I have anything nearby that I've done I've crackled that y'all could see, and I can't think of anything off the top of my head. Now this side's not, the cracks aren't as pronounced for some reason. I must not have put enough of the base coat on there, because this one's just really, really faint. All right, here we go. This one's not quite as pronounced. I'm going to put a second coat on this just to see if I can get it. I'm glad that I went back over everything with that, what I did go over with it. All right, this is getting a little bit better. Not as pronounced as the other sides, but it is there. Because I put plenty of the number 2 on there. I just didn't get enough of the number 1 on there. All right, let me get a clean paper towel. I was hoping for a little bit more look at me, but this is going to work. Okay, I like that. I do like it. I was just looking for something a little louder, screaming a little louder. But this is pretty. I guess it needs to be, all right. And then I'm not going to put this in water. I'm going to put this in olive oil. And I should have brought some over here, but I didn't. And it won't matter if I leave this out because it's not going to dry out. It's oil. Oil's not going to dry out. And even if you let it sit for days, you can put it in your water, I mean your olive oil, and it'll still, all right, let me come on up, just bring you back just a little bit, because the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take this trim, and I am going to take some B7000, okay, B7000, and we're going to put this trim. All right, this is where, let's see, we're gonna cut this. I'm gonna bring this down because I don't have a whole lot of shoulder rotation, or as much as I'd like to have, I should say. And we're gonna just put this right in here. And it's not going to really matter which side I start on because I'm going to clip this at the end of each time. All right, I do want to make sure that it turns facing up. All right, so this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to take this and I'm going to run a bead of this B7000. Come on. And I have found, number one, I do not like the smell of this at all, y'all. I would like to find something else that will work with. All right, hang on. Rhinestones and give a permanent hold than this smelly stuff. Just running a bead of this right along the edge. And then I'm going to stick that. And I have found, because I've used the B7000, I don't know, for a couple years now. I have found that buying it in smaller tubes, this is a little bit smaller than I probably will repeat, but I found that buying it in smaller tubes makes it easier, makes it so it doesn't dry out as fast or before the tube is run out. All right, so there is that. So now we're going to take this, see if I can turn this sideways, and I'm going to, this has gold in it. This is one of my favorite trims that I use. And I have found that if you kind of let it just lay into place, that's the way you get it the straightest. When you try to start moving it and you just kind of let gravity work in your favor, and twist it into place, you'll get a much straighter line. All right, and then I'm going to figure out where I need to cut this. Looks like right there. Let's see how I did. I think I did it one long. I did it too long. All right, let me cut two of these off here. Put a little bit more glue because this is drying. And this will hold. I've actually used this to put rhinestones on jeans. And some of them came off in the dryer, but a lot of them are still there. Now I can't fit into the jeans, but I will again. All right, let's see here. And I'm gonna pull this. Okay. All right, let me show you what I have. Let's see if I can get it. Can you see the sparkle? It's gold. And, okay. And now what I'm going to do is, that's not quite to the end. I probably should have only cut one off, but that's okay, because what I'll do is I will take and put this all the way up to the corner, and that'll fill in that spot. That's going to be good there. And I'm going to put a cabochon or a button in there too, so that's not going to worry me. All right, here we go, y'all. We're going to go down the, I need to get some more of this. Squeezing it out. And it's not like it's going to go through the washer and dryer, so, and it's not going to be pulled on or anything like that, so you don't really have to have that strong of a glue. I'll have to cut that off. But I don't need a glue gun or any of that, because this is going to be fine. This will hold it right into place. All right, and then I'm going to take and I'm going to put this down. Make sure that, I don't know if y'all can see me or not. I'm going to fill that corner in. And this one laid down almost immediately. I'm going to hold it up and I'm going to twist the rhinestone trim so that everything faces up, and just let gravity drop it in line. Oh, that's pretty, y'all. And then I'm going to take and I'm going to cut it. See if I can get it at the right spot. Cut it, put it into place, make sure everything is facing up, push it down into that glue. I want to get a pair of scissors. I need a small pair of scissors. And I want to make sure that that's pushed down into the glue. I'll hold it up for you in just a minute. Oh, I like this. And then the idea is that we're going to put a button right there in the corner, I think. See that? We'll put a button right there in each corner. All right, and we're going to push that down into that. All right, so this is what we have. We've got two sides done. We've got the top, and then we've got this side over here. All right, then we're going to go. We're going to do the next side. Oh, that one wants to lift up a little bit. I wonder if I need to put some more. No, I think it's going to be good. All right, here we go. Do it this way so y'all can watch me. threads here that need to come out. Okay. Oh, that's the other thing is I had B7000 on my glass mat, and the rubbing alcohol, got that out too. Good cleaning agent. And I'm putting it right up in that corner. There's just a tiny, tiny gap there. And that just gives it just a little bit of framing. All right, here we go. I'm going to come over here and do this side next. I'm going to get this started. Pull plenty of this out so it's not pulling back on me. And there we go. Twisting it so that it lays up. And then just let it lay down on its own. I'll try and do some on the mat, the glass mat, so y'all can see what I'm talking about. Maybe I'll get a piece of cardboard and show you. Because it really makes a huge difference if you let it fall versus if you try to put it into place. All right, there is that. One more to go. And I'm going to pick this up. Get the strings off of it. And I'm going to just let it fall into place. Now, the nice thing about having this chain is that it gives you a little bit of space if you need to shorten or lengthen the chain. Oh, come on. This doesn't want to cooperate with me. It wants to twist the wrong way. There we go. No. I'm going to just kind of bring it up just a smidgen. All right. All right, so there we go. There's the next side over here. So we've got 3 sides, and now we're going to do the last side. Wow. This just really kicked it up a notch, y'all. All right, I thought I saw a string. I'm going to wait till this dries. All right, one last side, and then I'm going to get a piece of cardboard out. See if I have something white. Here, maybe that'll work. Give me white. See if this will work. I think that'll work. All right, so let's go ahead and do this side here, and then I'll do it. I'll lay a piece of this down so that y'all can see how it just kind of falls into place. I just kind of figured it out in working with it, and it was, you know, I tried to get things to line up a certain way, and it was crooked. And I just found that if I lifted it up and let it fall where I want it to fall, that gravity would do the rest of the work. This glue wants to pick up these little frayed ends of the, I'm not sure this is real velvet. It doesn't feel like real velvet, but it's pretty. And my mom and dad's friends gave it to me, so it's kind of neat to be able to have this in with the buttons from my grandmother. All right, and then here we go. I'm gonna kind of start out here, go into the corner, and then I'll twist this, and that'll cause it to lay upward. And then I just kind of keep twisting it, and then I'll kind of like push it straight down into the glue. And it wants to fall different ways, different directions at different times. So you just have to kind of tell it what to do by twisting it. Okay. All right, let's cut this one. And I'm going to cut this one. Where do I want to cut this one? Right. Is that right? I think I need to cut it right there. All right. And then I'm going to just drag this down. That's the one thing that's the beauty of having like this chain, because you can shorten it or lengthen it just a micro inch. Okay. Oh my gosh, yes. All right, let me show y'all. Can you see it's on all four sides? And then we've got you see the crackle? We've got the crackle, which is giving the wood just a little bit of dimension, a little bit of texture. All right, now, oh, you know what? I didn't think I was gonna need my glue gun, but I am, because I want to put these buttons in the corners, I think. All right, let's put that, fix that. Let's see what it looks like before I do it. I'm thinking it's going to just kind of frame it. All right, I'm going to leave my glue out. And I've got my cardboard here to remind me to show y'all how to do this. Oh, that one didn't fall right. Sometimes you have to go back and straighten it up a little bit. All right, here we go. I cut some of the bottoms off of these yesterday. All right, so let's see what we got here. What I don't want to do is I don't want to detract from So what do you think? Should we put the buttons or just the trim? Both or just one? Just give me a 1 or a 2. What you think? I don't want the buttons in the corner to detract from. All right, let me take them out. I'm almost thinking not to put them on there, because we want the star of the show to be the buttons. So what do y'all think? Should we put the buttons in the corner? All 4 corners? Or should we, let me look at it. All right, let me take it off. I'm thinking no. I'm thinking no. Because I think the buttons in the corner just kind of take your attention away from it. All right, so let me show you what I was going to show you with this trim. I think I'm going to leave it like that, y'all. And I'm not going to put a bow or anything like that on it, because the star of the show are the buttons that belong to my grandmother. And so when you look at this, I want people to look at the buttons. Yeah, I like it better without the gold buttons. As much as I wanted to put them in here somehow, I don't think I have any room to put them in anywhere in there. All right, so let me bring this cardboard in here and show you what I was trying to tell you. Let's see. Can y'all see that? No, that's kind of hard to see. Can you see that? No. All right, let me bring in. What other color could I use? Trying to think. Black would be good, wouldn't it? I got an idea. Let me take my multimedia pad and just paint a little bit of black on here. Just a straight shot. I don't want to get a big brush because I don't want to have to clean a big brush. All right, we'll just do this. Okay, I'm just going to paint some black on here. I think this will make it so you can see it easier. It's a lot of black, isn't it? Didn't mean to do that much, but here we are. I think black's the right color. If you don't have a multimedia pad, I highly recommend that you get one. You can practice, you can play, you can create, you can just, just be free. I had one of the art classes that I took, I had a gal recommend that, and boy, it just makes a big difference. All right, so we're gonna get this dry. Oh, that's hot. Okay, so all I'm going to do is I'm just going to take and I'm going to run a bead of this glue just straight down the middle. Just kind of squeeze and go. All right, I'll put the little needle in there. And so now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take and I'm going to get this started and I'll put it right in the glue and then I'm going to twist this and just let it fall. And then as it starts to twist, I'll twist it back into place and it will go pretty much in a straight line for y'all. But if you try, this is what I have learned, if you try to kind of like micromanage this, it gets snake-like looking. So you just lift it up and then you let it fall right. You're going to guide it up. You're going to guide it up here. And it'll almost give you a straight line every single time. So anyway, so that's my tip for you as far as the and then you'll twist it back here as opposed to trying to twist it right where it is in the glue. And sometimes you'll have to right it back to the top right at the glue, but and I'm going to just leave this right on here. I'll cut it off and I'll just leave it right in my multimedia pad. And just snip it off. These are, I don't know what you call these things, like little wire cutters or something. And but so you see, it's pretty straight for just a real quick job. And that's the easiest way, because this is, gosh, maybe a couple millimeters or a millimeter wide, so it's really, really small. All right, so let me put that out of the way, and we're going to put this cardboard away. And this is what we're going to do. I think I'm going to end it with this. So we've got the crackle. We've got this. There you go. You can see up top. You can see, and on the side. See how it's reflecting? That's what, you know, the camera doesn't always pick that up. But anyway, so it's a rhinestone trim. And these are my grandmother's buttons that I was inherited 26 years ago and finally doing something with it. So anyway, I hope I've inspired y'all to try something to do with maybe some of your heirloom pieces that you may have. And, you know, give it a go and see how it turns out. Let the project guide you. You know, I didn't know where I was going to go with this at first. And I was like, oh. And I sorted the buttons, and then I just started playing with it. And it was like, oh, well, I could do this, and now I can do that. And I'm not a planner where I have a start to finish idea. I start with ideas, and then I just move from one step to the next until I don't have any more steps. And so that's where I am. All right, y'all, I'm Julie with Nothing is Wasted Designs. If you're not following my page, I'd appreciate it if you'd hit the follow button. That helps my algorithms to get out there, and it also helps you to be notified when I go live. And if you want to be notified, I have a Telegram link up at the top of my page. If you can't find the Telegram link, let me know and in these comments, and I will get that for you. The Telegram link is going to let you, I'm picking this B7000 off my fingers. The Telegram link I send out about anywhere from 30 minutes to 10 minutes before I go live, and then that way I'm not dependent on this particular social media platform, and I can send you a direct message that you will know that I'm going to go live. All right, y'all have a great night. I think I'm going to be on tomorrow. I'm not certain, but I'm planning on it, and we'll see where that goes. Have a great night. I love you. Happy Thursday, and Jesus loves you more. Bye-bye.